Hey there. This time I'm doing the top 10 games of 2024. So this is relatively old and recent at the same time. I probably won't do a 2025 list until, I don't know, until I find 10 games that I actually like from 2025. When I made these lists like a month or two ago, I didn't have them. I think I was close, but not there. Maybe I'm there now. I haven't really kept up with it. But 2024, still relatively recent, and this will probably change drastically as time goes on, but solid games so far. So number 10, this is my cheat, my little bit of a cop out because it is a re-implementation. This is King of Tokyo Origins. So it's a little small, kind of a beginner box. Um, it's the same game almost exactly, new characters I guess you can use, but it's small and I have a bunch of stuff for it. So having this was actually kind of nice. And I did play this version rather than the other version just because it was small and easy and I could just take it out and play with what was in it rather than go through all of my stuff. Kind of like the big box problem that a lot of people have. Once you have a big box, it kind of becomes harder to play. And I think I've had that problem with King of Tokyo with getting more expansions and things. And just this kind of small contained box with enough to play I've gravitated to. So I didn't put it real high because it's basically the same game, just a new package, new edition, I guess. But there you have it. So the number 9. This is a game I don't own. I think well, no, not the only one, but most of the time I do these lists, they're games that I own. This time it's not, and this is a game from Stonemaier called Stamp Swap. I kind of didn't see anything about this, and the longer I played my play of this, I liked it. I played it at QuestCon this last year, and it kind of didn't seem like anybody cares about this game. And Stonemaier usually is like huge, huge, huge. Everybody's all over things, and I tend to not really care. And this one I probably wouldn't have cared, but I liked it. Kind of a drafting tile placement game. Thought it was fun. Number 8. This is Tango. This is a 2-player trick-taking game from Grail Games. And I think they've already, like, since this, I think I got this maybe the end? Or maybe the middle or the end of 2024. Played it almost immediately. And I think this last year in 2025, they already put out a new edition that's just like a smaller box or something, which is kind of ridiculous. But I quite enjoy this 2-player trick-taking game. It kind of reminds me of a lot of other games that I've played since then that have a 2-player mode. That's kind of what this game feels like, with some limited information about what's kind of on the shared playing space in front of you, and you're trying to you can use those cards in front of you rather than ones in your hand, and the opponent may I think they know some of them but not all of them, and it's kind of a fun twist on it. Number 7, this is Wanderlust. It's kind of a travel game. It's kind of close to I want to say Ticket to Ride or one of these, but I think it's more interesting and it's a little bit better. It's been a while since we played this one. I only played it the one time, but I quite enjoyed it. I can't remember who did it, and I know that they've got another game out now. I'll have to write this in because I can't remember, and they deserve the credit. But cool kind of travel themed game where you're trying to complete your objectives or whatever they are, and you're traveling to different areas trying to make it efficient too. But you're not necessarily like building a route or something. Just trying to get where you're trying to go. I think it's like the cheapest way possible or something. I'm not like I don't remember as well as I'd like, but it was a lot of fun. Number 6, this is Tir na Nog. This is probably just behind me, but this is I guess a tableau building or a not quite set collection because you're trying to you have 3 lines below you and you're trying to go left to right in order of like whatever the number is, and I think they call them sagas or stories, kind of like Viking themed sagas, and you're trying to use it's like got a drafting element to it. You're trying to draft the right card to fulfill your sagas and the way that you want. Each line has their own scoring agenda, I guess. And I think it's unique to both players, so you're not necessarily going to be going after the same ones, but it does happen. And I thought it was a pretty interesting drafting game. And then number 5, this is like a skirmish game, I think. Zone Wars Mutant Zero Year. I think they changed the name on Board Game Geek. I'm not sure which one is first because they're both on the box. But there's 2 sets of these, and I thought it was a pretty interesting war game where the objective wasn't necessarily like they have different scenarios, but the objective wasn't necessarily to eliminate all your opponent's units, kind of like in a HeroScape or I'm assuming most war games, honestly. But I think the one we played, the objective was to get a certain number of these resources on the board, and then have at least one of your figures escape alive. And I thought that was a really fun twist. And of course, the minis are really nice, so it was a fun game. And then number 4, this is another game, the other game on this list that I don't have, and another game that was kind of under the radar that I'm kind of surprised about. This is Taken No Color. It is like a spin-off roll and write or draw and write of the bigger version, and I've not played that, but this was one that we really liked at Escape Winter last year, and we played it I think twice, and we quite enjoyed it. It was one of our it was kind of it's not super heavy or anything, or really even that thinky, but it was a lot of fun anyway. And things don't have to be the most strategic or anything, but it was a lot of fun. I was like, I'm kind of surprised that nobody's talking about this one. Flew under the radar, I think, at least as far as I could tell. And then number 3, this is probably underrated for a lot of people, but I have some issues with this particular set because it is another re-implementation, but it is very separate in my mind. And this is HeroScape Age of Annihilation. I could put the Master Set of the Battle Box. They kind of intermix. You can use either one. Obviously, I talk about HeroScape a lot, and I love the game. It's one of my favorite games. This particular Master Set, I think, is not as good as it could have been. It's quite good. It's really good, and it does come with a lot. I think it's worth however much money you can get it for, but I did have some problems with it, and it's not as good as it could have been. And I think some of these other games are unique enough, and this is just a re-implementation, new characters perhaps, but it's not a totally new thing. So then number 2, this theoretically should be higher. This is a 2nd edition, I think, but I think the cover is the same, and I've not played the 1st edition. This is Trick Shot. It is a hockey-themed board game, kind of one-on-one, or you can do teams. And it has got such a push your luck element to it, and it is quite strategic, more than I thought. And this is one that I think it's from Wolf Designer, something like that. They did another one I really like too. But yeah, I've seen a lot of like sports themed games, and I usually kind of ignore them, but not a lot of hockey ones. And this is a full size hockey board game with some miniatures, which are kind of fun. They're kind of like they kind of remind me of the old Nintendo Entertainment System ice hockey game, maybe. Because they have some small figures, and then they get like a medium one, and then there's a big one, and they have different I guess stats based on those, and you can change up the figure's size stats with different cards. It's pretty cool. Something I think you could, head to head, go back and forth forever and play, and it would be a challenge the whole time. You probably grow your own meta within the game too. And then number 1, this is Mayan Curse. I can't remember the company name, but I know it's like their 2nd game. I think he had a solo game that did really well. I've not played it. But this is a game where you're trying to get through this temple and get the most treasure, or the highest value treasure from it, without getting stuck in there, because kind of like, I think it's like Indiana Jones idea where you're trying to run back out before you get squished by this coming ball thing. I think in this it's a big cube that's coming out like once per turn. It makes a move back, and you're trying to rush out to get out before it closes. And it has some cool tension. It was a lot of fun, and it's got slide puzzles, which I really like. And I think because of that, you can't like come up with one strategy to really beat it. And it's always going to be different because you're going to have different symbols to go through these slide puzzles every time. It was really interesting. I thought it was very well done. Um, all of these I thought had great quality to them, um, and this one in particular I think should be good for a lot of people. I think you could probably have some analysis paralysis with it because you're trying to figure out how to best use your resources to get to where you're trying to go. But I did find that during the game that we played of this, that by the end of it, we had kind of gotten it down, like, in our brains. I think my big drawback was that two of the symbols kind of looked a little similar, whether it was color or shape, I'm not sure. But there was two of them that were a little closer together than I would have liked. But really cool game, and that is all of 2024. Again, like I said last time, there's probably 1,000 more games that came out this year, and I've probably only played, so many of them, but these are the ones that stood out and I've gotten to play and I've enjoyed. Let me know if you've got some other ones, some hidden gems in 2024 I should check out. And that is it for now. Bye.